Alliance's Tabs to tell us about that win versus a super hot crew. Going into picks and bans, what did you really have your mind set on getting?
We had a very specific idea going into the champion select. We wanted to stop their bot lane from snowballing on us. So that's why we really prefer Thresh and Caitlyn, a lane that can play very defensively. We let Pantheon go through exactly for that reason. Because we had Thresh, we could just avoid his ganks and never die at bot lane, even though he was there for basically 20 minutes.
I actually want to hear more about the lane Thresh Caitlyn, because most people consider it one of the strongest 2v2 lanes, supposed to win the lane, pressure all the time. What is your general opinion about the lane?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree that Thresh and Caitlyn is one of the strongest duo lanes you can have. But you don't necessarily have to play aggressive with it. You can also play defensive, because just because of their team focusing bot lane so much with ganks and Pantheon, we just tended to stay back and not die instead.
All right, so you say that the champion picks are very important. How in general, how strong do you think that Mr. Raleigh and Mixa are as a bottom lane, even if they don't get the ideal champions?
I think that their bot lane is definitely the key to their wins. And that's why they play that way as well. They tend to gank bot a lot to get them snowballing, yeah.
Then I would like to hear what you think about Alliance as a team. You guys have been up and down. We can say you're further down the standings than maybe expected when the season started. What do you think has been like the main issue for you guys as a team?
Definitely we were a really young team in the start. We were overconfident and we didn't adapt the right way. That's why we started off so badly, and it was a wake-up call for us to go 0-4, and since then we've been stepping it up every week.
Pulling it back to the game, because you mentioned being overconfident, you had quite a lead in this game. How did you make sure you were able to close it out? What was the key?
We pulled off our strategy very patiently. We were like, okay, both of our solo lanes are winning. Our bot lane is like doing fine as well, so we can just do a 1-3-1 split push and end out the game.
So team fights are obviously very essential in that matter as well, and you guys did very well, and we actually have an example of that one.
Yeah, we have a replay. It's the 28-minute mark. We're going to see, if we bring up the replay to the screen here, it's just when Wicked is teleporting in and SUPA crew has been pushing up towards your lane. Can you just talk me through the team fight when we roll the clip here? You just talk about everything you want.
Okay, so yeah, basically here, Frogger managed to get behind their team because he was split pushing bot. We managed to catch out Leona very well. Basically from here on out, we already killed the key target, so we're just cleaning up. And Wicked was really fed, so he just runs in and kills everyone. And Pantheon makes a little mistake here, staying too long, so I net over the wall and kill him, so we get the uncontested Baron. And
this was obviously the fight that gave you guys the Baron, as you just said. You managed to then pretty much get the lead you needed to really pull through. You got another Baron later on. In the game itself, was there any point where you're thinking, we need to push, we need to end this game, or you're just taking it all slow and you knew you had like the better combo?
Yeah, we definitely just took it slow all game long.
All right, well, good win for you guys in the first win here for Super Week, but you still got 3 games to come and some serious games. You got the Copenhagen Wolves, you got Roccat, you got Gambit in there. Let's go through them, and maybe starting with the Copenhagen Wolves and that bottom lane, or what the biggest threat is for that team.
Yeah, I think Copenhagen Wolves is very similar to SUPA Hot Crew in that regard. They really rely on their bot lane to win, so we just pick out a strategy and we should be good against them.
What's your opinion about Gambit then, who you also play, of course? They're one of the top teams in Europe. What do you think about Gambit?
I think Gambit is very unpredictable. They're just really good. They're really good individually, really good at team play. And yeah, I'm really scared of them.
As long as we're going through the motions, what about Roccat?
Now we're talking about similarities. I think Roccat is very similar to Gambit, where they're really unpredictable, especially their mid and jungler. They tend to do very well, so you gotta be careful.
Then I would actually like to hear, because you obviously were in Lemon Dogs last season, a very different team from now. What is maybe the difference between Alliance and Lemon Dogs, practice-wise, for instance?
With Lemon Dogs, we tended to just grind out games from 1 to like 11 in the evening, so it was really long practice days. With Alliance, we tend to take the scrims a bit more, like, how do you say it, like only 3 hours, and then another 3 hours after dinner. It leaves more time for solo queue as well.
And how important do you actually feel solo queue is? Because it's always something we see pro players that play a lot of solo queue. Some don't actually. Yeah. And people kind of argue back and forth. Is it important to play solo queue?
Yeah, it's very important, because solo queue is where all the new trends start and all the new overpowered picks are discovered. And it helps you keep up with your mechanics as well.
Right, very interesting. Got to get in that solo queue. The next game we got coming up here is Millennium versus Roccat. Millennium need a win here today. They lost earlier. Deficio, how do you think they're going to do?
Roccat is obviously the favorite, but everything can happen in these games. Millennium, as you said yourself, they need the win. I expect them to pull out a very strong early game combo, win the early game, and then beat Rocket.
All right, Tabs, what do you think?
I really don't know. Like Millennium, they haven't really been doing too well lately. Even though their bot lane managed to win the lane very hard, they didn't manage to snowball it through, and that was really a shame. So I don't feel too good for Millennium.
All right, what we're going to see, thank you very much for talking to us, and congratulations, of course. And now we're going to head back over to Joe and QuickShot.